Do you know what is the most dangerous thing that can happen after you awaken spiritually? It is not loneliness. It's not losing friends. It's not the family thinking you're crazy. The most dangerous thing is for you to try to go back. It's you feeling the crushing weight of not fitting anywhere else and making the worst possible decision to force a return to the old world. And here's the truth that no one has the courage to tell you. That truth that social media gurus hide because it doesn't sell courses, it doesn't generate likes, it doesn't fill events. Once you enter the fifth dimension, there is no door back. You can try, you can pretend you haven't changed, but your body is going to get sick, your mind is going to collapse, and you're going to live a silent hell called vibrational mismatch. Thousands of people are living this nightmare right now. They woke up to a new reality, saw beyond the veil, expanded their consciousness, and then the loneliness of 5D hit so hard that they ran back to the known, even though the known is a comfortable lie. They called friends who no longer vibrate at the same frequency, accepted invitations to places that drain all energy, returned to toxic relationships because better in company than alone. And do you know what happened? They couldn't. The fatal mistake of those who enter the fifth dimension is not to evolve. It is to try to go back to the past and destroy themselves in the process. Because trying to fit back into 3D after you've expanded is like trying to shove an adult into a child's outfit. No matter how hard you push, it just doesn't fit anymore. In this video, I'm going to show you the 7 signs that you're trying to come back and self-destructing. I'm going to explain what happens in your body when you force this impossible retreat. And especially, I'm going to give you the way out of this trap before it kills you inside. If you've ever tried to go back to the old world and felt in your skin that something was terribly wrong, if you've lost friends in your wake and are struggling with loneliness, if you feel like you don't fit in 3D anymore, but are afraid to fully embrace 5D, this video is made for you. And if you identify with what I'm going to say here, leave a 5D in the comments so I know you understand the message and are ready to move on for real. There is a moment in the spiritual journey that no one really prepares you. That instant when you realize that you have entered the fifth dimension and suddenly everything has changed. Conversations that once made sense now feel empty. The places you used to frequent now drain your energy, and those people you used to call friends just don't vibrate at the same frequency as you do. It's as if you've woken up in a different world, but everyone around you is still asleep. And do you know what happens? Loneliness hits so hard, the discomfort of not fitting anywhere else tightens your chest so much that you make the worst possible decision. Try to go back. You pick up the phone and call that old friend, accept the party invitation that you know will leave you exhausted, force a smile on conversations about gossip and futility that no longer touch you. But then comes the brutal shock of reality. You can't go back. As much as you try to feign interest, as much as you try to be who you were before, something inside you screams that it is no longer your place. It's like trying to put on an outfit from when you were 10 years old. It just doesn't fit anymore, no matter how much you pull or force. And worst of all, your body starts to give signs that something is very wrong. Unexplained pains arise. Your mind enters a state of confusion and anxiety that seems to have no end, and you feel more lost than ever. The vibrational mismatch between who you have become and where you are trying to fit in begins to take a heavy toll on your physical and mental health. Thousands of spiritually awakened people are living this silent hell right now. They woke up to a new reality, felt the crushing weight of 5D loneliness, and did exactly what human instinct tells them to do. They ran back to the known, even if the known is a comfortable lie. It's like that person who ends a toxic relationship, spends weeks suffering, but in a moment of weakness returns to the ex because the loneliness hurt too much. But there is a cruel difference when it comes to returning from 5D. It's not like going back to a relationship or an old job. To try to go back to the past after you have expanded your consciousness is to try to shove the ocean back into a bottle. It is physically and spiritually impossible, because there is a truth that no one told you when you started your spiritual journey, a truth that gurus on social networks love to hide because it does not sell courses or generate likes. Once you enter the fifth dimension, there is no back door. You can even try spiritual regression. You can strive to get back to the automatic way of living. You can pretend that you haven't seen what you saw and you don't know what you know. But your soul will fight with you every second. Your body will get sick trying to process a density it can no longer handle, and you'll live in a constant state of internal war. The fatal mistake is not to miss the old world. That's human. That's normal. The fatal mistake is to believe that you can undo your evolution, that you can hit an undo button on your expanded consciousness. First of all, I need to tell you something that perhaps no one has told you yet. The fact that you want to go back doesn't make you weak. It doesn't mean that you failed in your awakening, and it definitely doesn't mean that you're not ready for the fifth dimension. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Wanting to go back is the most human, most natural, and most predictable reaction to what you're experiencing. Think with me. When you entered 5D, you didn't gain superpowers and a private island full of enlightened people waiting for you with open arms. What did you really win? Losses. You've lost friends who just haven't evolved at the same pace as you. You've lost connection with family members who look at you like you've gone crazy. You've lost interest in that job that pays the bills, but kills a little piece of your soul every day. And maybe you've even lost a relationship that you thought was love, but was just two egos completing each other in illusion. The loneliness of 5D is not that pleasant loneliness of spending a weekend alone watching series. It's a deep existential loneliness, which makes you question if you're right or if the whole world is right and you're the one who freaked out. It's waking up at dawn with that tightness in my chest thinking, I lost my friends in waking up, now what? Will I be alone for the rest of my life? And do you know what your brain does when faced with this level of isolation? He goes into survival mode and shouts, go back to the acquaintance, go back to the tribe. Even if it's fake, even if it's toxic, it's better than dying alone. Because the hard truth is that we humans are tribal creatures. We have been programmed by millions of years of evolution to need to belong to a group. Being alone, historically speaking, meant certain death. So when you call that friend who only talks gossip and futility, when you agree to go to that party that you know will exhaust you just so you won't be alone on Saturday night, when you force a smile and pretend you care about empty chatter about who betrayed whom or which team won, you're not being fake. You're trying to survive emotionally. The mistake is not wanting to go back, you know. The mistake is to try to do the impossible. It's like you've grown a foot and gained 15 pounds, and you're trying to cram your body into a uniform from when you were 7 years old. You may even be able to put one leg, maybe even press the button with a lot of effort, but you will be uncomfortable, unable to breathe properly, feeling pain, and deep down knowing that it doesn't make any sense. The vibrational mismatch between who you have become and the world you are trying to re-enter is not a choice. It is a natural consequence of your expansion of consciousness. It's as if you've been a fish your whole life, developed lungs and the ability to walk on land. And now someone has convinced you that you should go back to the bottom of the ocean because your fish friends are there. You can even dive for a few minutes, kill the nostalgia, but if you try to stay, you will drown. It's not drama. It's not spiritual exaggeration. It's pure energetic physics. And understanding this, validating this desire to return without judging yourself by it, is the first step to stop self-destructing, trying to force a return that biologically and spiritually is no longer possible. Now comes the part that may hurt a little, but is absolutely necessary, identifying if you are in this trap of trying to get back from 5D without even realizing it. Because most people don't wake up one day and consciously think, I'm going to self-destruct trying to go back to the past. No, this happens in a subtle way, disguised as being polite, maintaining friendships, not being arrogant. The first sign is when you start to force old friendships. You know that talk of calling people who you know, deep in your soul, no longer vibrate at the same frequency as you? You dial the number, force a conversation about amenities, laugh at jokes that don't really make you laugh, and hang up the phone feeling emptier than you did before you called. It's like trying to revive a relationship that has already died, doing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation in a connection that no longer has a pulse. The second sign comes right after. You accept invitations that you absolutely don't want to accept. That party where everyone goes to drink themselves and talk about the same shallow things as always. That little bar where the energy is so dense that you physically feel your energy field being sucked in. Those social events that drain every drop of your vitality, but you go anyway because I can't be home alone again. And here comes the third sign, perhaps the most painful. You find yourself feigning interest in empty conversations. Gossip about other people's lives, endless complaints about politics and economics without anyone doing anything to change. Superficialities about material objects and social status, and you are there, smiling, agreeing, participating, but feeling inside as if you are betraying your own soul with every word. The fourth sign is devastating, and many people fall into it. Going back to a toxic relationship because better in company than alone. That ex you know doesn't respect you. That partner who belittles you every time you talk about your spiritual experiences. That person who makes you feel crazy that you're evolving, but the loneliness of 5D squeezes you so hard that you think, at least I'm not going to sleep alone tonight. The fifth sign appears in your professional life. You continue in that job that is literally killing your soul, day after day, because I need financial security. You come home exhausted, not from physical fatigue, but from that existential fatigue of having spent 8 hours pretending to be someone you are no longer, selling your lifetime to fulfill someone else's dream while your own dreams rot in the drawer. The sixth sign is when you go back to wearing the social mask you had thrown away. You silence your truth to please others. You hide your spiritual beliefs so you don't get judged. You pretend you don't know what you know about reality to fit into the conversation. And here comes the seventh and final sign, the most alarming of all. Physical symptoms that didn't exist before. Back pain that no doctor can explain. Chronic insomnia even taking medication, extreme fatigue that doesn't go away even after 12 hours sleep, allergies that came out of nowhere, unexplained digestive problems, your body literally rejecting the vibrational backlash you're trying to force. If you have identified with 3 or more of these signs, I need to tell you very clearly, you are in a brutal internal war between the 5th dimension, where your soul already inhabits, and the 3D, where you are desperately trying to refit. And this war is destroying you from the inside out. This is where it really gets serious, and I need you to understand this not only spiritually, but also scientifically. When you enter the 5th dimension, there is not just a change of mindset or an evolution of thought. There is a literal transformation in your energy field, in your brain frequency, and even in the cellular structure of your body. Neuroscience studies have shown that deep meditative practices and consciousness-expanding experiences physically alter brain waves, shifting the predominance from beta waves, common alertness, to alpha, theta, and even delta waves, expanded consciousness states. Your nervous system recalibrates itself to process higher, more subtle frequencies. It's as if you've been an AM radio all your life and suddenly evolved to pick up FM frequencies. You literally can't process the old airwaves in the same way anymore. Now imagine this. You are a fish that has lived your entire life underwater, developed perfect gills to extract oxygen from the water. Then you evolve, develop lungs, go out to dry land, learn to breathe fresh air. And then, out of loneliness, out of fear, out of longing for your fish friends, you decide to go back to the ocean and try to live there again. What happens? You drown. Your lungs don't process water, no matter how hard you try to force it. Trying to go back from 5D to 3D works just like that. It's forcing a system that evolved to process high frequency to go back to processing heavy density. And the result? Real, painful, frightening physical symptoms. Autoimmune diseases that come out of nowhere. Your own body attacking itself because it's in vibrational conflict. Unexplained allergies that no test detects the cause. Chronic pain without a medical diagnosis, those that you do an MRI, CT scan, all possible exams, and the doctors look at you and say everything is normal. Depression that doesn't respond to antidepressants. Anxiety that doesn't improve with cognitive therapy. Insomnia that no medicine solves. Because it's not a chemical problem in the brain. It's vibrational mismatch between where your consciousness is and where your physical body is being forced to stay. I've seen people develop fibromyalgia after trying to go back to the old world. I've seen cases of chronic fatigue syndrome that appeared exactly at the moment when the person returned to a toxic relationship, trying to escape the loneliness of the 5D. And look, this is not divine punishment, it's not bad karma, it's not the universe punishing you for trying to come back. It's energy physics, pure and simple. When you try to plug a 220-volt outlet into a 110 inlet, what happens? Burns the device. When you try to process 3D frequency with a body already calibrated to 5D, what happens? Your system collapses. Traditional medicine will fill you with medicine. It will diagnose you with disorders that have beautiful names in Latin. But deep down, no doctor will be able to cure what is not a physical illness. It is energetic rejection. Your body literally can no longer process the density of empty talk, the heavy energy of toxic environments, the low vibrations of people who have not evolved. It's as if every cell of you has learned a new language, and you're trying to force them to speak the old language again. They just don't obey anymore, because they've evolved beyond that. And the more you insist on "I can't go back, but I'll try anyway," the more symptoms will appear, the stronger your body will scream, trying to wake you up to reality. You don't fit in 3D anymore, and trying to shove yourself back there is an act of violence against yourself. The time has come to face the hardest truth of all, the one that you probably already know deep in your soul, but are still trying to deny. Once you see beyond the veil, there is no way to unsee. You know that scene from the movie The Matrix, when Morpheus offers the 2 pills to Neo and says that if he takes the red pill, he will see the truth and will never be the same again. Well, that's exactly it. Once you take the red pill of consciousness, after you see how the world really works, how people really are, how you really are, there's no spiritual amnesia that erases it from your memory. You can close your eyes, you can cover your ears, you can shout out loud that you want to be ignorant and happy again, but that knowledge is already engraved in your soul in a permanent and irreversible way. A lot of people try to do spiritual regression, try to meditate, asking the universe, "Get me out of this, let me go back to being normal again." They try to force themselves to live on autopilot as they did before, waking up, working, eating, sleeping, repeating, without questioning anything, without feeling anything deep, just existing. And do you know what happens? Your soul screams. It's not a metaphorical scream, it's a real scream that manifests as anguish in your chest, like that tightness in your throat when you're about to cry, like that feeling of wasting your life second by second. Every moment you pretend you don't know what you know, every empty conversation you participate in, knowing it's just distraction, every time you silence your truth to fit in, your soul screams louder, and the suffering increases exponentially. And here's the cruel paradox that no one prepares for you. The more you resist the 5th dimension and try to get back to 3D, the more painful everything gets. It's like swimming against the current. You get tired, you get hurt, you drink water, you panic, but the current keeps pushing you in the direction of evolution, whether you want to or not. The only difference is that if you stop resisting and let the current take you, the journey becomes infinitely smoother. The only real way out, the only one that really works, is to cross completely. The path is forward, never backward. There is no shortcut, there is no side door. There is no secret spiritual trick that allows you to evolve without paying the price of evolution. And yes, that price is high. It means letting go of people you love but can't go with you, places that gave you comfort but now suffocate you, and versions of yourself that you loved but have died. I know you're reading this, and a part of you still wants to believe that there is an exception, that maybe you can be different, that maybe you can keep one foot in each world. But I need to be direct with you. I can't. Trying to go back to the past after entering 5D is like trying to convince a 30-year-old adult to believe in Santa again. Even if he tries hard, even if he wants it badly, the lost innocence doesn't come back. The knowledge gained doesn't disappear. You can pretend, you can act, you can put on a costume and pretend, but underneath the mask you will always know the truth. And living a conscious lie, knowing that it is a lie, is one of the deepest sufferings that exists, because you are not only betraying the world, you are betraying yourself, betraying everything that your soul fought so hard to conquer. Everyone who tries to get back from 5D to the old world goes through 3 very specific phases, and understanding which phase you're in now can literally save your life. The first phase is denial, and it starts like this. I haven't changed that much. People who are exaggerating. I can get back to normal if I try a little hard. D. You begin to minimize your own evolution, to doubt your spiritual experiences, to convince yourself that it was just a phase and that now you can go back to being who you were before. You call old friends trying to resume the usual conversations, accept all social invitations to prove to yourself that you still belong in that world. And in the beginning, you can even pretend, laugh at jokes, comment on futility, participate in gossip. But the discomfort grows, subtle at first, like a thorn in the side that you try to ignore. Over time, this stone in the shoe becomes an unbearable pain, and you enter the second phase, the bargain. That's when you think, okay, I've really changed, but I don't have to abandon everything. I'm going to keep one foot in each world. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I live my spirituality, and on weekends, I go back to being normal, so I don't lose my friends. It seems reasonable, it seems balanced, it seems mature even, but do you know what happens in practice? Extreme exhaustion. You wake up in the morning already tired because you have spent the whole night with your body trying to process the vibrational density that you exposed yourself to the day before. Your immune system starts to weaken, you get all kinds of colds and flu, you develop unexplained allergies. Your body really gets sick. It's not freshness. It's vibrational incompatibility, manifested in concrete physical symptoms. And then your mind starts to collapse too, because living this duality is unsustainable. On the one hand, your expanded consciousness knowing deep truths about reality. On the other, you pretending you don't know any of this to fit into empty conversations. It's like trying to live in 2 countries at the same time, speaking 2 different languages simultaneously, being 2 opposite people in the same body. Anxiety skyrockets, depression knocks on the door, and you enter a vicious cycle where you try even harder to force yourself back into 3D because if I can go back completely, this pain will stop. But it doesn't stop, it only gets worse. Because you are not walking on 2 parallel paths, you are literally splitting yourself in half, tearing your own soul apart in the impossible attempt to inhabit 2 incompatible realities, until you reach the 3rd and final phase, the moment of absolute truth, surrender or destruction. Either you finally accept that there is no back door and move forward fully embracing the fifth dimension, or you destroy yourself trying to force the impossible until you become seriously ill or collapse completely. How to get out? The answer is so simple that it is frightening, but so difficult to execute that many prefer to continue suffering. Stop resisting. Accept loneliness as sacred, as a womb where the new version of you is being gestated, not as a prison. Trust, and I know it's difficult, that new alignees will appear at the right time, people who vibrate at the same frequency as you now, and above all, let go of what no longer serves without guilt, without looking back, without trying to save those who don't want to be saved. No more theory, no more explanation. Now it's time for practical and direct action to get you out of this trap before it completely destroys you. The first thing you need to do, and you need to do now, is to immediately stop forcing old connections. That friend you call every month trying to rekindle a friendship that has already died. Stop. That WhatsApp group where you force interaction by feigning interest in subjects that no longer touch you. Get out. Those people you keep in touch with just because you know them for a long time, even though you know that the vibrational connection no longer exists. Cut. I know it sounds cruel. I know you're thinking, but I'm going to hurt people. But you understand one thing. Maintaining false connections out of pity or guilt is literally killing you inside, and eventually you'll get so sick or so exhausted that you won't even have the energy for these forced interactions. Second practical action: accept that you have lost people, and everything is fine. It's not that you failed, it's not that they failed. You simply evolved at different speeds in different directions. It's like when you finish high school and those inseparable friends each go to a different city, each one builds a different life. And when they meet years later, they realize that they have nothing in common but old memories. You can honor what you have lived together without forcing yourself to live the present together. Losing my friends in the wake is not a phrase of failure, it's a phrase of evolution. And third action, embrace temporary loneliness not as punishment, but as a sacred womb where you are being recreated. Loneliness is not abandonment, it is incubation. It is the cocoon of the butterfly before it flies. Fourth practical action, and this one is crucial. Protect your energy fiercely as if your life depends on it, because it literally does. You learn to say no without giving an explanation, without justifying yourself, without having to convince anyone that you have valid reasons. No, I'm not going to that party. Period. No, I don't want to go to that event. The sentence is over. You don't owe satisfaction from your spiritual journey to anyone. You don't need to defend your vibrational incompatibility as if it were a crime. Fifth action: actively seek out the aligned 3% because they exist, but they're probably not in the places you looked for friendship before. They are not at the bar. They are not at the club. They are not at the superficial parties. They are in spiritual retreats, in meditation groups, in online communities, on expanded consciousness, in esoteric bookstores, on nature walks. Sixth and final practical action: trust in divine timing with everything you have. Life in the fifth dimension rebuilds itself when you stop resisting it, when you let go of control and let the universe orchestrate the right encounters at the right times. That aligned job will show up. Those true friendships will manifest. That conscious relationship will cross your path, but only after you completely clear the space, only after you stop trying to go back to the past and fully embrace the present. Because here is the ultimate truth that sets you free. The suffering that you are feeling right now does not come from 5D. It does not come from loneliness. It does not come from loss. It comes exclusively from your resistance to all of it. The moment you stop fighting the current and let it carry you away, peace comes. Not a peace dependent on external circumstance, but a deep peace that comes from finally being aligned with who you really are. So we come here at the end of this journey of raw truths, and now you have a choice in your hands. the most important choice you will ever make in your spiritual life. You can keep trying to get back. You can keep forcing yourself to fit into spaces that no longer serve you. You can keep pretending you don't know what you know and completely destroy yourself in the process. Or you can finally accept that you have evolved, that you have entered the fifth dimension, that you have expanded your consciousness in a way that has no return, and that this has a real price that needs to be paid. There is no third option. There is no middle ground. There is no magic shortcut where you get all the benefits of evolution without any of the losses. Life just doesn't work that way, and the faster you accept that, the less you'll suffer. Yes, you will lose people. And some of these people you love deeply. Some of them have been in your life for years. Some are even from your own family. Yes, you will go through loneliness. And it is not that weekend loneliness that passes on Monday. It is a deep existential loneliness that will make you question everything about yourself. Yes, your old life is going to die completely, and you're going to have to attend her funeral without being able to do anything to stop it. All your old plans, all your certainties of what life would be like, all those future versions of you that you imagined, all of it goes to waste. Is it painful? It's devastating. But do you know what's on the other side of this death? An authentic life where you finally stop wearing a mask, where you wake up in the morning and don't have to pretend to be someone you're not. People who really understand you, who look you in the eye and recognize your soul without you having to explain anything, who vibrate at the same frequency and make you feel at home just by being around them. A crystalline purpose, so clear that you no longer need to ask yourself, why did I come here? Because you simply know, feel it in your gut, live it every day. And above all, a peace that does not depend on external circumstances, that does not disappear when you are alone, that does not need validation from anyone to exist. A peace that comes from being completely aligned with your truth, even if that truth is inconvenient, even if it costs you relationships, even if it makes you different from 97% of people. The real question is not, can I come back from 5D? Because the answer to that you already know is no. The real question, the only one that matters now is, am I willing to cross it through? Am I willing to pay the price of my own evolution? Am I willing to die as a caterpillar to be reborn as a butterfly, even though I know that metamorphosis hurts? If you've come this far, if you've read all of this and recognized yourself in every word, if you've tried to go back to the past and are suffering from this impossible attempt, leave a little fire in the comments, because you're not alone in this, and together we're going to create a real community of those who have chosen to move forward, of those who have accepted that they no longer fit in 3D and have decided to build a completely new life in the fifth dimension.